On this episode of The Finish Line, myself, Richmond Webb, and Mr. BallGame, we're going to play a little game tonight. We're going to have a little bit of a theme show. We're going to do fact or fiction. We're going to talk about Mike McDaniel, Tagovailoa, Achane, a little bit of draft talk with these boys. And a whole lot more. So do me the favor, smash that like button. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. As always, let's get into this.
Loses the football. Touchdown! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score. Field down the near side, man open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it over the touchdown again.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan.
Let's go!
All right, huddle up, huddle up. We're gonna crank these engines up on one. All right? Wait, set. Drivers, start your engines.
This is the finish line.
I coached some great offensive linemen in the past. Larry Little, Dwight Stevenson, Jim Langer, all Hall of Famers, and Richmond Webb belongs to that same group.
Here are your hosts, legendary Miami Dolphins left tackle Richmond Webb, Reason, and Mr. BallGame.
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one. Appreciate each and every one of you taking the time out to tune in tonight. Gentlemen, we meet here again for the fourth time this year. The Dolphins have found their winning ways. It wasn't pretty at times. It was downright ugly at times. But the Dolphins are now 4-7 heading into the bye. How you feeling being 2-0 since the departure of Grier, Richmond?
Hey, how y'all doing? I wasn't ready for that. Hold on, lace these gloves up. I wasn't ready for that gut punch. But I'm good, man. I'm laughing because of that, but I'm laughing because the people don't know what we was talking about before the show. So that's I'll be all right. Y'all give me about 5 minutes. I'm gonna come back again. These two right here is something else. Is all I'm gonna tell you. But it's amazing how a couple of wins kind of erase your memory. I think it's everybody's like getting hit with a couple of shots of dopamine and you feel good and this and that. And, at times, even though we won the game on Sunday, it was some questionable things that I think, we did toward the end that, a lot of people like, what are we doing, this and that? And I get it because that's not the typical way sometimes you approach it. But I was just so happy that it worked. But like you said, 4-7. We've been through a lot this year, but I'm feeling pretty good. And then we got the bye week, so we got 2 or 3 good weeks, and then we get ready. I think the Saints is the next game, so I'm feeling pretty good. Like I said, a couple of wins definitely help as much as we've been kind of beat and tormented this year. So I'm feeling good. Hopefully, you guys are feeling good, and we got Thanksgiving coming up next week. So, man, I'm good. How you doing, Mr. BallGame?
I'm good, man. I think we all take a similar approach to all of this, right? We expected them to be somewhat as good now as they should have been this couple weeks ago, right? Mm-hmm. I always say sometimes those wins don't necessarily have to be beautiful to be effective. And this was an ugly win, but this shows me that they can go out there and not be their best and still be able to now figure out how to win a game that normally they probably would have lost to some degree, right? There were some questionable things, but I think for me, a lot of that's going to be associated with the fact that this dude is still just learning, man. And unfortunately, we're along for the ride in regards to going through these learning pains with Mike. Most seasoned coaches would take the points.
Yeah. Me and Richmond were talking about that backstage before you showed up. I literally asked BallGame Richmond, you were a player on the field, what would you think in that situation? And Richmond said to me, and I quote, Shula would have taken the points.
Yeah, you take the points.
Yeah.
I'm old school. Take the points.
Yeah.
So am I.
And your defense is doing a decent job of handling them or containing them to some degree. That Mariota had that 44-yard run, which I didn't think he still had in him with them old legs of his, but he got out on us. But aside from that, they were doing enough to be able to get them off the field or at least slow them down. And you take the points. They're not gonna just give you the touchdown. So, but it worked out in the end. So I'm not gonna cry over the spilled milk. I'm not gonna look back at it. Just keep hoping. Hopefully they remember these things, and hopefully somebody's telling him like, listen, bro, we're not in the position where we got Tyreek out here, the guys that we have. While trying to figure out this number one role now. We got a lot of stuff going on. So take the points when they're there. And let's not put ourselves in a position where we got to go into overtime to win a game that should have been done in regulation. To be honest. Aside from that. I'm hoping, the help is on the way and they can they can just keep moving forward. Slow is the next guy up for the defense they have to contain. Hopefully Mike has some more wrinkles in his playbook that nobody's seen. So it gives them a little bit more of a competitive edge and, throw some stuff at people that they're just not accustomed to. The run game seems to be there, which is always going to be a plus. That helps out with the play action stuff. I don't necessarily think Tua should be in a gun as much as he is, to be honest with you. I think we should be a little more traditional. If we're going to pound the rock like they've been doing, do it from under center so that, you don't give any tails because, I think anybody with any common sense know if the running back is lined up on the right side of the quarterback in the shotgun, inside zone going left, unless you're finna run the 0-1 trap. Wherever the opposite, to work your cross work between the running back and the, and the quarterback. But stuff like that, if he can clean that up and be a little bit more deceptive of what he's actually trying to run, I think it'll help us down the stretch. You don't have to show everybody everything. Disguise it. And you get, and you can make things appear one way and then get a wrinkle off of it. It's a lot easier sometimes to run the play action stuff if you understand them because there's no tails to it. Yeah. So stuff aside from that, I think we're in a good place. So we'll see how it all plans out. 7 losses still hurt though because I thought the team was better than this for sure. But
yeah, they're finding a lot of success right now with that 6 lineman Brunskill package, right?
Yeah.
But we're getting there's some stuff that we're leaving explosives. Let's be real. We're leaving explosives on the field because of missed assignments, missed blocks by guys like Cole Strange and Larry Borum. Yeah. Early on, you could add, not so much in the run game because Jonah's been pretty good, but that's another thing. Jonah's not so much a liability in the pass pro as he has been, yeah. So, but yeah, the thing is like they were running a counter that we really hadn't seen much when I was watching the film in the past couple weeks. They ran it like 3 or 4 times. First time, they ran it right behind Strange and Borum, worked out perfectly. Mm-hmm. The second time you had Patrick Paul gave up a little too much to the defender. Strange kind of, fell by his wayside because of that. And then the third time, Borum just didn't, we've had a continuous problem no matter who the linemen have been in there in terms of pre-snap reads, and Borum just didn't have good pre-snap recognition. You know what I mean? So, even when you're seeing new wrinkles that look like they're going to work, you're still having to deal with lackluster results at times because the execution is being expected by guys who aren't starter level material right now in the NFL, right? Like, and that's the thing. Like, yeah, we're going to get Austin Jackson back. That's great. But Austin Jackson, he's not exactly a pass pro menace. You know what I mean? He still has issues in pass pro, not to the extent that Larry Borum does, but he's not like light years better than Larry Borum in pass pro, right? He's, he excels in space and, in the screen game and in the run game.
Yeah, his athleticism is what pops for you.
Yeah. So that's why, man, listen, hey, and we'll talk about the draft a little bit. If we're picking that 11 right now, if we're in that 11-18 range, Spencer Fano, the right tackle from Utah, and the right tackle from the Hurricanes, Francis Moigoa, you got to start thinking about these guys because the Austin Jackson experiment, I mean, he's healthy less than Tua, and we find ourselves having to rely on guys like who? Jesse Davis, Liam Eichenberg, Larry Borum, and the word on the street is Liam Eichenberg ain't coming back this year because apparently what he has is chronic.
Yeah.
So
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't know, and you can't convince me they had no idea about any of that when they brought him back.
Yeah,
right? Come on, you had him in the building for how long? You didn't know that? Either you got the dumbest set of trainers in the world, or Liam Eichenberg can hide a chronic injury like no other person in NFL history. Take your pick. So, all right. I want to get your guys' thoughts before we get into Fact or Fiction a little bit here. I want to get your thoughts on something that you kind of touched on a little bit, BallGame, to his play and the offense specifically this week. There's some games where that offense is clicking and, like against the Chargers had the defense just made a stop, blah, 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 blah. And then you had games like, and I know I was talking about it last week, is Dan Quinn taking over play calling duty. He's going to give this defense in Washington a shot in the arm, and it ended up happening. I mean, you had look at the play Bobby Wagner made on that Jalen Waddle, touchdown throw attempt that he ended up knocking that down. Like, that was a crazy play for a linebacker in his mid-30s. What are your guys' thoughts on the inconsistency? I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. On the inconsistency of Tua in this offense, because coming into this year, gentlemen, if I would have said to you Tua is going to be healthy for the full year, you guys are probably going to say to me, okay, that's at least 9 or 10 wins. Now, 9 wins, I guess, are in the range still here, but 10 wins ain't happening. What have been your thoughts on how inconsistent? I mean, that was a defense we were facing that had given up 25 plus points in like 3 of the last 4 games. What are your guys' thoughts on the inconsistency of Tua and this offense? I'll start with you, Richmond. Okay, no, sorry, BallGame. You wanted it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll take it. I think it all comes back to an unfortunate situation that Mike has put himself in where he spent so much of his, like, there are reports, bro. Like, if Tua threw 50 balls in practice, 40-something of them went to Tyreek. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem when you don't have equal distribution. And now that guy's gone, the guy that's in second spot, you expect him to come and really fill that void. And he was playing the number 2 role, but now you're in the number 1 role, and the chemistry is off to some degree. Although he was there with, him, Waddle and Tua were there before together. When you brought Tyreek in, everything shifted, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the balance completely shifted to one side as opposed to the other. Our coach played fanboy and was trying to feed Tyreek. Waddle was playing second fiddle to that. But now that he's back having to be the number 1 guy, I just don't think that Tua and him have the same level of chemistry, right? Which throws off a lot of other things. The way Tyreek runs routes is way different than the way Waddle runs routes. The way Waddle catches the ball that Tua throws is a lot different than the way Tyreek does it. You know what I'm saying? So all of these nuances, they affect the quarterback too, because I still, nobody's successfully defeated me in this comment or in this idea set that I have about quarterbacks being the most dependent position on the field, right? And if your guys are still trying to learn the nuances of the new role, right? And we don't know from week to week who's the number 2, because that switches and changes. One week you got Cedric taking most of the snaps, the next week you got Westbrook, whatever his name is, doing the number 2 stuff. So all of these different pieces are moving around, and you can't get continuity in the midst of all of that in the run of a week. You just got to try to find the best things that group can collectively do together and kind of mesh it all together and hope that game plan, kind of sticks, because Tyreek was your focus. Once teams see that guy is gone, Tyreek is gone. He was a major threat. Waddle has the speed, but there's a difference in the type. There's a difference in how they get open, how you get him open, right? Because Tyreek could do so many other different things that Waddle just hasn't shown us that he's capable of doing. Is it in him to do it? Yes, but he's never really asked him to do it on a consistent basis. So you're trying to take a guy from being 40% because the other guy's carrying 60 to now him being 70, 80%, and you got these other guys trying to fill in, and you're just not going to have the continuity. And that's the problem, which is why I always felt like the defense was going to have to be more stellar to hold us and hold teams off the scoreboard so that our guys had opportunities to get what they could get offensively, because without Tyreek being there, once Tyreek went down, I knew that the offense was going to suffer to some degree, because you can't replace that. And you can't replace a Waddle either, but there's a difference. There's a definite margin. Tyreek's a future Hall of Famer. Let's be clear about that. So it's hard to replace that no matter where you are, and now they're just trying to figure out the best they can. I think they can do themselves some favor by getting Dolce more involved. Start really working the middle of the field. You know what I'm saying? You brought Waller in, that didn't happen. He's kind of been in and out of the lineups, and he hasn't been available to you. But you got Dolce, who I think is a good option if you just give him the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And he's a big body that you can it will force the other team's defense to have to honor it. If you never prove that you're willing to go there, then most people ain't gonna worry about having to defend it. So then they can focus on boxing Waddle, right? Putting the corner on him underneath, and then just rolling the linebacker to him to reroute him and things of that nature, which is what we see sometimes in some of these games. And then by the time Tua gets off of Waddle to get to the number 2, the play's already kind of broken down. You got to throw it away, try to start over. So that's why there's a heavy leaning on the run game. And then we are hoping and praying when he goes to make the big plays that the guys catch it. But, you got to get in a rhythm for that. You know what I mean? So they got the run game figured out. Now they just got to figure out how they're going to incorporate what works best and what works best in terms of what these guys can do that Tyreek was able to do, and scale it back and don't ask them to try to beat Tyreek. Just be the best version of themselves. And I think that's what they caught in. But this next slate of games is a good opportunity for Mike, especially with the break and the bye week, to kind of do a deep dive and figure out exactly how they can feature Waddle more and get one of these tight ends more reps, because without that middle of the field threat, teams are just going to be able to just sit and cover 2 on you. And now you're going to be forcing Tua to do all the work, because it's easier. Cover 2 is probably the hardest defense for people to beat, because you got to make that perfect pass to the outside behind the corner and in front of the safety. But if you got a tight end to press the middle of the field, now that safety can't bail to the hashes as fast. They got to honor that tight end in the middle of the field and give help to the linebacker, because that's usually a mismatch between a tight end and a linebacker. So that's my thought process.
What do you think, Richmond?
Yeah, I agree with definitely the thing with Tyreek. I know as a player you can develop good habits and bad habits, and when you start trying to force or satisfy, like Tyreek, where you try to force to make sure he gets his touches, his catches, or whatever, you're not really going through your progressions like you typically could as a quarterback. So a lot of times you see in the field, but you're not seeing it like you should, because you're trying to make sure I keep this guy happy, and then, I'll worry about the other guys later. I think that was part of the problem. The other problem I think would definitely help too is if, like, we get Waller back. I think the tight end, even when he's healthy, being able for him to be an option definitely help. And hopefully he's coming back after as well, like Austin Jackson. He's coming back after the bye week. And so I think when we did have him in there and he got those touches and stuff, it was definitely beneficial to Tua's game. So I think he would definitely be a welcome addition back to the offense. And then third, I think with Tua, I think he seems like he thrives a little bit more when we got balance. And a lot of times when we get in situations where we gotta throw, he'll be in a good rhythm or whatever, and then it's like, what happened. So and I've heard you say typically keep him somewhere between 25, 30 passes a game. Once he gets up around 40 or something,
in trouble.
And like you say, and part of that, to be fair, is sometimes like he'll be there. He's trying to do the progression. Somebody breaks free, gets sacked, get hit. Once you get hit a couple times, you start thinking different. Cause I know I got to stay healthy. I can't take another concussion. So if you got too much stuff going on in your head, you can't really focus and do what you need to do. But he's hit wild a couple times. But like BallGame said, I think they got to continue to work on that. But I think if he continues to work on just going through his progressions and hitting who's open instead of worrying about, I got to keep this guy happy, this guy happy, this guy happy, I think he will be more successful. And the last thing, I think he needs to go back to that guy, Nick, in the offseason and train with him. I would definitely have a conversation with the front office and say, look, man, I understand what y'all doing, but I'm here working. But I've seen my best efficiency, production, and everything when I work with this guy. And I can tell it was a huge difference. And, I'm here, I'm committed to the team, but I need to be over there working with him. And that's definitely a conversation I have in the offseason.
Yeah, like his footwork and his mechanics in general and his body.
Yeah.
Were at peak when they were with Nick. And I've said this, you can think whatever you want about Nick. You can like him or not like him based on what he's done on X. That's your guys' call, but you can't deny what Tua looked like and what Tua produced under him. And even last year when he's working with 3D QB before he signed that, I always go back to this. Remember when he came back from the concussion, those 6 games where he came back, where we went 3 for 3, but he threw for 1,600 yards, 1,642 to be specific, 13 touchdowns, 1 interception. He had a 77 completion percentage and like a 120 passer rating.
Yeah.
And we that's when I knew we were in trouble, though. We put up all those numbers and we were still 3-3. I'm like, there's bigger problems than the quarterback at play right now. Right. But because the crazy thing, you want to hear something? You remember when we lost in that close game last year in week 9 to the Buffalo Bills?
Mm-hmm.
So Tua put up a top 9. So remember, 9 weeks, he put up a top 9 EPA per drop pack over the first 9 weeks. He was the only quarterback out of the top 9 to lose his game.
Wow.
But you know why? Because our defense put up one of the worst EPAs per play that season, and so did our special teams and stuff. But anyways, I digress. He's got to get back to work. And I know they're probably looking at it as insurance liability. And I've said this, it's been evident they didn't perform, whether Flores was the coach or McDaniel's been the coach. It's been clearly evident they haven't been fans of Perform. All right, so let's get into things. This week, I don't know if you guys saw it today, but Jordyn Brooks was named the AFC Defensive Player of the Week. He had 20 total tackles, 10 solo, 10 assists, and he had 1 run stuff. Now, Myles Garrett against the Baltimore Ravens this week had 4 sacks and 1 run stuff, 5 total tackles. This is now the second time potentially Myles Garrett's been snubbed for Jordyn Brooks. Back on October 26th, Jordyn Brooks was named AFC Defensive Player of the Year for that week because of his game against Atlanta. He had 10 tackles, 7 solo, 3 assists, 1 sack, and 2 run stuffs. While Myles Garrett that day against New England, he had 6 tackles, 5 of them were sacks. And Jordyn Brooks has been named Defensive Player of the Week over him both times. And the reason why, gentlemen, Dolphins won both those games. The Cleveland Browns lost both those games. So let me ask you this. Was Myles Garrett snubbed? And on top of that, are you guys fans of a requirement is, well, you got to be on the winning team? Because the offense in Cleveland is nowhere as good as what we have in Miami. So it's kind of like, oh, you can only be defensive player of the week if you put up stats, but your offense has to show up and win the game too. Richmond, you're a former player. What do you think of this? Was Myles Garrett snubbed? And what do you think about that? They're making it seem like you have to be on the winning team to get defensive player of the week, no matter what you do.
Yeah, I think you definitely can be snubbed when you're and you see it all the time. If you're from a team that they've won, they consistently make to the playoffs, and that typically you're gonna have more Pro Bowl players come from those teams. They're gonna get the offseason accolades, awards, this and that. Now, if you're a receiver or like quarterback, if you got the stats, you got the stats. But a lot of time, wins and losses, even with a quarterback, you can have the numbers, but if you don't have the wins and losses, a lot of time they do count that against you and saying, of course, quarterbacks will say, well, he lost, but it's a team sport, but they'll still credit that to the quarterback. Yeah. But they do it from week to week. And then the other thing you got to look at, which I just looked at the stats, I'm kind of glad you broke it down, but Myles Garrett has probably got 9 sacks in 2 games, which is almost, that's not typical. So if you played against, I don't know what happened as a defensive, you're going to take it. And, at the end of the year, most people don't break it down game by game. They say, oh, you got 15, 16 sacks. You get that in a season, you definitely going to most likely be up for defensive player of the year. But again, they're going to look at it and say, well, you probably got more plays because your offense was so bad. So now you have more opportunities to get sacks. So it's all in how they do look at it that way. But I mean, I don't care who you are. If you get 20 tackles in a game, I mean, you a dog. You you in the mix of it. You ain't running away from it. You trying to make it happen. So that's pretty impressive, especially for a linebacker. And they gotta cover a lot more ground because they gotta scrape, they gotta read. Sometimes they drop in coverage, this and that. So that's pretty impressive by Jordyn Brooks.
What do you think? Fact or fiction, was Myles Garrett snubbed for Jordyn Brooks this week? BallGame?
I mean, the first time I would say yeah, because that was against a better opponent in regards to the
Patriots.
We played the Patriots. But I think it really comes down to who's looking at it all and who's doing the voting too. Like for me, I kind of know what to expect from Myles. Like he got 15 sacks on the season thus far, right? But he's gonna be up there pretty much every year because the dude is just. But
4 sacks on Lamar Jackson. It's not like that's a statue ball game.
No. But I mean, I watched that game too, though. Like Lamar was in the pocket. Like they made sure that the front side was closed, so he had nowhere to go. And then when Garrett got him, he actually got him. You feel me? Like Lamar thought he was snuggied up and not have to worry about it, and he beat the brakes off the dude that he was blocking. So at the end of the day, I get it. And those sacks are hard to get. A lot of guys don't ever get to that level of having. Look, he got 15, like I said. But Jordyn Brooks got 125 tackles already too. So I think they're both playing out of their minds, right? Mm-hmm. And I think what it comes down to is impact. Because you can have 5 or 6 sacks and your team not win the game, but 20 tackles and you win the game. Like they was both in the zone, but one affected the game a little bit more than the other. You feel me? And I think really that's really the nuts and bolts of it. It's unfortunate. I think he'll be up for Defensive Player of the Year just like anybody. He's a staple there. Future Hall of Famer probably from the defensive end position too, because he's really one of the only rare dudes right now.
He's got to get out of their ball game. He's got to get out of there, bro. That guy can go win a championship somewhere. What is he doing?
He's gonna be like Thomas though. Like he's gonna be like Thomas, the left tackle for them. You feel me? Like
yeah.
It is what it is. Guys are too loyal sometimes. But at the end of the day, he is a dog. You know what I mean? He's undeniable. You know what I mean? 15 sacks through 9 games.
That's ridiculous, bro.
You know what I mean? But, on the other side, you got Jordyn Brooks at 125 tackles through 10. That's 12. How many we at? We don't have to buy yet, right? So we
at
11
9 games and we're at 10 games.
Yeah,
they're at 11 games. We're at 10.
So Jordan got 12 and you do his out. That's 12 and a half tackles.
Yeah, I remember he had 18 against the Jets.
Yeah.
Jordan, and you know what's funny? Jordyn Brooks had 20 tackles, but if you go back and watch the film, few times where he hit the wrong hole and he,
Could have had more, yeah.
Like he actually didn't have as an elite of a game as we've seen him have a few times this year, and he still wound up with 20 sacks. Like, dude, like I'm telling you, Jordyn Brooks. There's there's 3 players, Achane, Brooks, and Brewer, that need to have extensions put on the table for them this coming season. Let me tell you that.
They need to figure out Minka money too, so he can stay a while. Shit.
Yeah, because he's playing we won that trade. I'm sorry. We won that trade. I get with Ramsey. I don't care what anyone tries to tell me. We won that trade.
We won that trade just on the fact that Ramsey didn't, like, Jamar Chase was able to walk out the field and you spit on him. Like, man, ain't no way, bro. I'm losing 3 or 4 paychecks, but the message would be sent, bro. I'm telling you, bro. I was beating the sleeves off that dude.
It would only happen once with you, BallGame.
That's it.
And another thing,
he spit on him, dog. You talking about like he hawked up the loogie, bro?
Yeah, that was.
You know what I mean?
There's that word again, Richmond.
And then had the nerve to say he didn't do it, bro. The camera catches everything. You lying ass.
Yeah. Jamar's a dog too, because Jamar would have beat the brakes off him if Jalen even swung, bro. Jamar got that dog in him right now. He went to LSU. There's a different breed of guy. And you know what? The other thing, I don't know if you guys have looked, but Jonnu Smith only has 163 yards up until the point of this season right now. Jonnu Smith, I mean, the most yards he's put up in a game this year is 28. Jonnu it ain't happening, brother. We won that, and this man wanted to get paid. I mean, everyone who said it was 2 in the system, I mean, y'all ended up looking right. Yeah, I don't know. Pat yourself on the back if you called that. All right, here's a big one. Fact or fiction? I'll give my opinion after you guys. Let's start with you, BallGame. Fact or fiction? Mike McDaniel saved his job after the last 2 weeks.
Yep, I think there's the thought process when you win games. A lot of those crazy thoughts that people have kind of get put on the shelf for a bit, and I think Stephen Ross know that he hired this guy. You know what I'm saying? Not at his best, so he's willing to essentially give him still a little time to figure some things out. Now I don't know what the workings behind the scene was, or how much Grier was working against him or not working with him in this process.
Yeah.
But I think he did. You know what I mean? I think Ross wants to make sure before he opens another door to someone else that all the options are exhausted to make Mike as successful as possible. Because the guy is brilliant. I give him that, right? But there are certain things that he needs to learn about being a coach that just really and truthfully you're not going to learn without going through it. So, unfortunately, we are going to have to go along with him on the ride to learning. So,
Richmond, what do you think? Albert Breer said this week that people have told Stephen Ross that Mike McDaniel is one of those second chance head coaches that they believe he's going to go somewhere, be a good OC, get a second chance and figure it out. And up against a weak coaching cycle with guys like Mike McCarthy, it might just be better to hold on to the second chance guy. What are your thoughts? Fact or fiction? Mike McDaniel saved his job over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, like you say, that kind of calmed it down when they came to a decision by Chris Grier, and then as soon as that happens, you turn around and win 2 consecutive games, and you see the effort is there. You see the energy. It's something different. I mean, it's like they really trying. It's like they believe that they can win these football games, and it seems like the running game has become more and more established. So if he can figure it out, I think he is a brilliant mind. Sometimes I think he probably outthinks himself, but if he can figure it out, which I think he will, he could turn out to be a really good head coach. And I think maybe in these past couple of weeks that he's seen maybe Chris Grier gone, he's like, hey, I'm a player's coach. I want to be friends with the coaches, but at times I'm gonna have to be this type of guy. So just understand, if I get on you, it ain't personal, but this is what we gonna have to require of you in order for us to continue to win football games. If you're gonna be a leader, then I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire. And if people see that, they say, okay, if he's holding this guy and I know he's one of the top guys, then I got to get in line. So I think those, like BallGame said, he's still in the learning curve, but if he's got the support that maybe he didn't have when he was with Chris Grier or whatever, I think he'll continue to progress, and I think he might actually be all right. But I think he's possibly safe after these two, because I think it's some more games that's going to definitely help his resume look good this second half of the season. We should win.
Yeah. All right. Fact or fiction? Chris Grier, even though he's gone, deserves some credit for this turnaround, because Jonas Savaianaya, Kenneth Grant, Zeke Biggers, Jordan Phillips, Dante Trader, the rookies are starting to really turn a corner, it's obvious, as well as guys he signed when there wasn't much on the market, like Jack Jones, are making consistent impact plays and really winning games. You know, Rasul Douglas, when he's been healthy, has been really, really good. Fact or fiction, Chris Grier does deserve some credit for this turnaround, because his roster construction is starting to come together a little bit.
I'm not against giving credit where credit is due. He did the process of getting these guys here. You know what I mean? So I will give him credit for that. Check out from the box. Some things were questionable. Some guys' play was questionable, but over the course of the last couple of weeks, some guys have shown why they are still, you know what I'm saying, in the league, and that they can play in this league. So I will give him credit for that. I think the problem is overall that he just never really wanted to address the real issues the right way. Now we just got to find somebody willing to go ahead and say, you know what, without quarterback, without an all-star lineup in front of him, you know what I'm saying? I mean, give the kid what he needs to be the most successful. That's what I just say. You know what I mean? If you have the assets and the ability to do it, why not? Protect your investment and make your quarterback your priority, so that, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, if you do have questions about him, he can't ever come back and say you didn't give him what he needed. And everybody can see that you did. You feel me?
Yeah.
So make the line the best as it can be. Get you another big body possession wide receiver to go with them two Ferraris you got. And if Tyreek does come back, he can be the elder statesman to tie all those things together. Find you a nice, if you're going to hold on to Dolce, that's fine. If you're going to hold on to Jonah Hill, that's fine. I mean, Julian Hill, that's fine as well. But you still need you still need a young dog at tight end, somebody that can grow, that Tunga can groom to be exactly what he need to be. So maybe the next GM can find that for him. Because
you're sitting in 11-18, Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. If people wanted Brock Bowers or Tyler Warren, you'll want this kid. That's for sure. I mean, and Greg Dulcich, that could be a potential diamond in the rough you found. Juju Brents, I know he can't stay healthy, but it looked like a potential diamond in the rough that we found. You know what I mean? And those are Chris Grier finds. So
the Brents kid is unfortunate with the foot thing, man, but that's prototypical what you want. 6'2", 205 pounds.
Yeah, bro.
And can move when he needs to move. You know what I mean? It's not stiff.
That length and athleticism blend is rare, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Richmond, what do you think? Fact or fiction? Chris Grier deserves a little credit for this turnaround, because the roster construction is starting to come together.
Yeah, I agree with BallGame. I think a lot of people won't give him credit because they were pissed off. But if you do an honest assessment and take your feelings and emotion out of it, he did do some good things. I think the thing that people focus on is, you know, like even before the season, we knew we were masking certain positions where we didn't go out and get what we possibly needed, whether it was cornerbacks or whether building depth in the offensive line. People don't forget that, but then they don't forget also when you stand in front of them and say, "Oh, we're gonna be fine, we're okay," and this and that. And then when it blows up, that's when, you know, people start pulling the receipts out and like, "We told you, we told you, we told you." And I think the reason it's frustrating for people because they know if we can keep everybody healthy, we got a legitimate shot to possibly compete for the AFC. I mean, just the way that the things were going, but when injury set you back like that, it's like, man, people ain't trying to hear that. You know, it's like, yeah, they'll ride with you, but when you can only do that to them so many times. But he's brought in some really great players, and they're starting to turn around, which I'm happy now. Even like, you know, Phillips that we sent to the Eagles, he was a good player. He just injury, but I think he's gonna probably thrive in Philly. I'm pulling for him to to have a really good career because he always worked hard. He just had a couple of bad injuries. But if people honest, yeah, they will give him some credit, but they're gonna also put an asterisk by his name and say, yeah, this and that. But nah, we got to give you this work too. We can't just let y'all. They ain't gonna just let him off the hook.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, Robert. And the reason why I agree with you is because of all the information Chris Grier had at his hands. I mean, no one had a relationship with that South Carolina coaching staff in a general manager position like him. I mean, his son played for that coaching staff. If anyone should have known about the off-field troubles, it should have been him. And then when he's the last rookie of that class signed, because I'm hearing privately, they didn't want to give him the money to hit South Beach with. I mean, that's not great. Devon Achane.
Yeah.
Double-sided question. All right, and let's start off with this right now. Right now, Devon Achane is third in the NFL in rushing yards. He has 900. James Cook has 968. Jonathan Taylor has 1,139. But guess what? Devon Achane, when you look at touchdowns right now, Devon Achane, he only has about I think like 5 rushing touchdowns. But when you look at big runs, Devon Achane leads the NFL in 9, and that's 20-plus rushing yard plays. So he's number 3 in rushing yards, okay? Amongst all running backs in receiving yards, Devon Achane is number 3. He has 370. Only Bijan Robinson, who has 506. And Christian McCaffrey, who has 732, have more receiving yards on the season than him right now. Devon Achane is number 3 in receiving yards for running backs and number 3 in rushing yards. Do the Miami Dolphins have a top 5 running back, Factor Fiction? And Factor Fiction, they'll extend him this offseason with a year left on his deal. Richmond? Okay, go ahead, BallGame. Go ahead, BallGame.
He definitely going to get some new money. And it doesn't bother me to say it because the guy is just different in terms of his build is not prototypical of what you would expect to be a bell cow type of runner and do all the things they have him doing between the tackles and outside and catching the ball. But he is this generation's 3-down back. And I don't have an issue with it. I used to have reservations about it. I thought they needed somebody bigger, somebody with a little bit more ability to bang the ball up inside and break tackles and stuff. But
look at him inside running this year, eh?
The guy's damn near impossible to.
The vision has gotten so much better this year, BallGame. Holy jeez!
And you're not, and the first guy's not tackling him. Like you can forget that. The first guy's not bringing him down. So I retract my thought processes about it, and I will say yes, he is a top 5 back. I mean, statistically, he's giving you all the data you need to be able to substantiate that claim, and he is, without a shadow of a doubt, every given Sunday, regardless of who's on the field, probably the best player on the field.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, yeah, I mean, he's a steal for us considering where we got him and when we got him. And then people was like, "Oh, it's just another scat back," but no, he's proven to be way more than that. And the durability piece alone, bro, for a guy his size, you know what I mean? He's not even 200. He's not even 205, and that's generally what you want. Yeah, that's what you want. 205, 210. Well, 205, 208 is where you want your guy to be. They want to boost him. Sometimes you're going to be a guy that's going to take a whole lot of punishment. Then you want him to be somewhere 212, 215 by the time they come out of training camp. You feel me? Muscled up, chiseled up, ready for the long haul. And this guy's every bit of what what you see is what you get. You got a plan for him because he's a problem. Yeah. And if you stop him in the run game, he beats you in the pass.
I called him the 2025 souped up version of Reggie Bush, and all the people who called him a young Marshall Faulk might be the ones who are more right than I am, because you see it, man. I mean, the shiftiness, the elusiveness, the ability to stop on a dime. I've noticed his vision has gotten better, but so is his patience. Like, he's very patient. You know what I mean? And because of how quick he is in that initial burst, all he needs to do is see a little bit of a seam, a little bit of daylight, and bang, he's through. What do you think, Richmond? Factor Fiction, Achane is a top 5 running back, and the Dolphins will extend him this offseason.
I definitely think it's a fact. I agree with both of you. I think up until this point, he's probably the MVP for the Miami Dolphins. The way he's played, the numbers he's put up, the stats and this and that. And, I think everybody would agree with BallGame or whatever. When you look at him, you look at his size, you always question, is he big enough for a guy that size to run in between the tackles, outside? You can screen him. I think BallGame, he's a 3-down back, and it's very seldom you have a back, whether he's a bigger back or whatever, that can play on all 3 downs. So that just makes him more valuable to the team when he's a guy that doesn't have to come out the game. And a lot of times they'll flex him out like he's a receiver. So I forgot about that. But, yeah, hey, we need to keep going. We got a couple more games, man. The Aggies, I don't have no fingernails left after that South Carolina game, but I'm happy.
What do you think of Marcel Reed as a prospect?
I think if he gets consistent with the deep ball, he's gonna be. He kind of fits in the Achane mode. And what I mean by that is he's got the height, but he's real slim for a quarterback. I think he looks a little smaller than Jaden Daniels at the Commanders. But for his athletic ability, he's a dual threat. But if he gets the weapons we have at wide receiver, he's missed some guys a couple times. If he dials that long ball in, he's going to be hard to deal with. And so, but I do like him. But he's still a little rough. He's still got some things to work on. But Devon Achane, he's the real deal. And it would be a smart move. I just don't see them making him play that last year out. So. Definitely for a fact, they need to redo his deal for sure.
Yeah, and Marcel, he was a redshirt freshman, right? So doesn't he have like 2 years of eligibility left? Yeah. So he got that growth. And I know you watched South Carolina. Richmond, what do you think of Lenoris if he develops as a passer?
Man, he's totally different from what I saw last year. Man, when we had came off that LSU game last year, we can't beat LSU, and we went to. Man, that dude, he put a clinic on. So from that point, but I seen him play against Florida. I think I saw him play against Tennessee. He was always calm. The stage wasn't too big for him to be as young as he was. But this year, everything just hadn't. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that team ain't good, man.
He's not the same guy he was last year. But yeah.
But apparently, he's going in the transfer portal, and the big rumor is the Miami Hurricanes.
Oh, really?
Everybody trying to get
Yeah, he wants to go to a place because they've got that freak wide receiver, Nick Harbor, right? But he's not even a football player yet. He's just a freak athlete. Go run a go route, kid. It's like remember what Russell told DK in year one? Brother, just run and I'll get it to you. That's what you're gonna have to tell Nick. Yeah, because BallGame nailed it. He's a 100-meter, 200-meter track star.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's what Nick Harbor is, right? Like, he's an
that
absolute
curl
freak.
over the weekend.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, my God. I don't know if you've, actually looked into his stats, Richmond, but, Nick Harbor, I think, what is he? He's been, so Nick Harbor, he's 6'5", 245. He's been clocked on the GPS at 23.6 miles per hour.
Yeah.
He runs a 10.1 100 meter. He can run a 20-20 200 meter.
He get out of there.
You saw it? Yeah, that's rolling.
We saw it on
that size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And BallGame, he's 6'5". All these guys are how much shorter than him? And
you
want to hear something crazy? 5% body fat.
You know who he is? He's this generation's, and he just got to work on the route running. But he's this generation's Calvin Johnson, because Calvin was the same way at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, he's a freak.
He almost sounded like David Boston when I first saw him. He probably wasn't that fast.
David was too big, though.
David
wasn't that big.
Nah, Nick Harbor is exactly right now where he is. He looks. If you look at the pictures, he looks identical to what Calvin looked like in the same year. Yes. The only difference was that Calvin was a better run blocker, and Calvin, because Calvin, they tried to turn him into a tight end at first, but then they realized we just got to put him out there on our, in our heavy sets, and just shore up the pass blocking for the quarterback and let him do the go routes, because nobody can run with him. Calvin was a 4.3 like a 4-3-4, 4-3-5 guy. You feel me? So
Yeah.
he used to. Yeah.
Yeah. And Harbur's like flirting with like 4-2 shit. You know what I mean?
Scary.
Like at
that's
6'5", 245, that's nuts. Like that is crazy, bro. Like the guy is what? He's bigger than like a lot of college defensive ends, dude. Like, you know, he's the size of a tight end, but he moves like Achane. That's crazy.
He gonna need some bear brakes or some wildwood brakes. You got to put on his cleats or something, man. I think he's gonna go in the second or third just off of his athletic profile. Like I'm telling you right now, he's not. Yeah. They need to keep him right here in Miami.
He saw him.
Richmond. You saw him run. He ran out of the stadium on Saturday.
Yeah, against you guys. Remember?
He pulled up with the.
That guy.
Yeah,
I thought this guy was at Miami. That guy.
No, Norris is going to Miami. We're talking about Nick Harbor's the only weapon he has right now. Yeah. Remember?
I know exactly who you're talking about now.
Yeah, remember the cop got kicked out of the game for shouldering him and his buddy or whatever because they went through the tunnel.
Yeah.
He's a freak.
To slow down. I'm glad they ain't no more.
Forrest Gump. Remember Forrest Gump? He just runs out of the stadium, bro. Just runs out of the stadium, runs home. That was Nick Harbor, bro. It's ridiculous. All right, final one here. Fact or fiction, the Dolphins won't be picking in the top 10 of the NFL draft. Right now, check this out. Right now, the Dolphins have the 11th pick. They're 2.5 spots out of a wild card spot. They're 2.5 games out of the number 1 overall pick. Think about that. 2.5 games out of the number 1 overall pick. 2.5 games out of a playoff spot.
Yeah,
right smack dab in the middle. What do you think? Fact or fiction? They picking in the top 10?
No, they're not. I think they're not gonna lay down. I think
they got too much pride. They're not gonna lay down.
And they shouldn't lay down.
Right.
No, I think it feels good coming to the locker room. If they've had a bad taste in their mouth for a while to say, no, we want to go back to that. They got a taste of winning and they want to do that. So I can't see that happening. I think they're gonna compete, and I don't think we'll have a top 10. Like you said, we should be somewhere between maybe 11 and 18, unless we get a playoff spot and get something, going. But that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. What do you think, BallGame?
Yeah, I just don't see them laying down, man, after the success they've had in these last couple of games and how they got guys flying around happy, you know what I'm saying, and committed to their jobs. They're going to go out to try to win every game left on the schedule. I believe that 100%. So picking in the top 10 is probably not going to happen for them at all. Yeah, that'll be it would take a different level of collapse for them to be in that situation. And I think they've endured all that they're willing to endure in terms of losses and ugly losses. I think right now, having these two under their belts, it changes your whole mindset about what you're going out, why you're going out doing what you're doing. You feel me? And winning is always gonna make things at the house a little easier for you. Your kids ain't as annoying to you. Your wife look a little sexier to you. You know what I'm saying? When you're winning. So I think they want to stay in that space. So the Saints in trouble after this bye week. I tell you that.
Yeah. Final thoughts, boys. Richmond, any final thoughts?
It just feels good. That's my 2 words. Feels good. Let's get healthy. Enjoy the weekend. We can actually enjoy the weekend with no pressures on Sunday. And let's get ready for the Saints game the following week, and we get some people back, and let's try to keep this thing going. That's all I got.
Final thoughts, BallGame?
Yeah, winning cures a lot of different things. Winning ugly games, for me, being a former coach, matters a little more than the ones that you win when you blow people out. So I think there's a lot of grit and there's a lot of intestinal fortitude that this team gains from winning ugly games like they won. And I think that's much needed, right? I just hope that they can continue to stay, tie into each other and hold each other accountable. You know what I'm saying? Alignment and assignment football always going to work better for everyone overall instead of trying to be a hero. We don't need hero ball. They just need to play together, believe in the system, and believe in the coaches and have the coaches believe in them, and some things will work out in their favor. And if they don't, they can at least say that they tried, and it'll be a good stepping stone towards what's to come.
Yeah.
You know? Just go get Anthony Hill in the draft, and we'll be okay. Because then you can pair him with Brooks, and then we're gonna have one hell of a linebacking core. Because that D line is getting after.
Who'd you say? Get who?
Anthony Hill Jr.
Oh, I want Arvell Reese if we get a top 10 pick out of Ohio State. Oh my God! But Sonny Styles too. I think is gonna blow up the combine. The other Ohio State
Quick question for you.
Yo.
How are you? I mean, we talked about it briefly, but I mean, is the bus talk over? Grant and Phillips?
Oh, these people are ridiculous, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Grant's been coming on the last 4 or 5 games. Jonas Savai-Nye's been coming on the last 2. But if you watch the film early this season, Grant was taking on doubles. Grant was eating and making run stuffs. And now everyone's noticing his swim move is consistently winning out of his stance. And
you know what I saw Weaver did? You know what I saw Weaver did too?
What?
Slight adjustments to that 2-eye instead of the 2 right up, the head up. Put him in. I told him a long time ago, put him in the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
Put him where he's comfortable. That's what he was.
And they were finding success. Same thing when they would use him as a 3-eye early in the season.
Yeah.
They were finding success. Yeah.
Guys, I don't know football.
Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. I'll be live. I'll have a show dropping tomorrow. Make sure you check it out. It'll be on the GM search. Fins up. We'll see you on the next one. Smash that like button.